Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Gems. Hey, gents. Welcome to the Hustle and Shine podcast. It is me, Tiffany Mathias, the one true Phoenix, and I'm
And it's
here with the lovely
Natima Sheree, Queen Pin of TGI and the Diamond Riders. Happy Wednesday, Gems and
Happy
Gems.
Wednesday. And of course, it is October. And so, besides wearing diamonds on Wednesday, we are wearing our pink. I was supposed to wear pink and purple in honor of domestic violence awareness month. So maybe next weekend I'm gonna rock pink and purple. I didn't find a combination that I liked where I didn't look like some type of crazy Harlequin thing. But yeah, I found my pink.
I love
How have you
it.
been? We missed you last week.
Thank you. I miss y'all so much. Thank you for just being amazing and just being on autopilot where this can kind of coexist and be created without my presence. Like that's such an amazing compliment to a visionary when something you've created can then be moved forward by others, right? Like I just so love that. But not only did I rest, that's a season I'm in and learning how to be still and surrender, but also I got to read a lot of the chapters of the diamonds. And I was just like, God, you have the most amazing way of like reassuring me. Reading
Mhm.
these stories, I'm like, yeah, this is why I do what I do. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, knowing the impact that these stories are going to have on men and women and youth is just it's the most amazing feeling. So I'm really excited. I'm super excited about it. So I'm going to be back though. I missed y'all.
Yes, we missed you too. And again, we are missing a co-host. We want to shout out and send love and prayers to the lovely MV10, who is in Florida right now with the storms. We got a couple of diamonds down in the Florida area who are experiencing some tornado warnings and gusty winds, so Mother Nature is out there, Mother Naturing, and we're just sending prayers and protective vibes and energy over to them down there as they weather this storm. Um,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Before we hop into the episode, you know what time it is? It is time for you right now, Jim and Gents who are watching right now. It's time for you to like this live. It's time for you to share it in the comments. Drop the name or two of somebody who needs to be in this space with us, and then head on over to the YouTube and subscribe so that you know the next time we go live, you know when to come on. Because
Exactly.
I got a little rusty, but I'm getting better at making sure on Monday the episodes are created so that you can click the button that you want the notification when it's time to join us. So yeah, do that for us right now. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You
Go,
know
go, go.
it.
hmm Go, go, go. Go get that done. Go get
Yes,
that done. I love it. I love
yes.
it. My light is so trifling tonight. I can't get it to
Listen.
act right. That's because somebody was supposed to come change my light bulbs in here, but we ain't gonna. No, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna act like that.
You say, Beetlejuice.
But somebody. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So definitely, it has been an interesting couple of weeks here with the Diamond Riders. There has been so much that is going on. We're just going to give a quick rundown. Coming up in November is the new journaling workshop series called November. It will be taking place on Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. You can head
Mhm.
over to the Diamond Riders website and click the register to participate and join in those. They will happen every Sunday in November. It is also open enrollment with the Diamond Riders. So while you're on the website, click and register to join our upcoming interest call, which will be next week, Thursday, the 17th.
Yes.
It is time to write and shine with us. So if you have a story to tell, or you know somebody who has a story to tell, or think they may have something, just send them on our way. We got them.
That's
And then
it.
we're so excited to talk to them about the other endeavors that have been branching out and growing out of the Diamond Writers. So everything is not just Diamond Writers anymore. It's actually Transparent Gem Inc. and all of its the umbrella corporation or the umbrella and all the other different things that are happening up under there. So yes, lots of busy things happening here with the diamonds, and you can see it's making the queen pen glow.
Yes, yes, I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm gonna keep it together, but I'm so excited. I think the first call was powerful.
Hmm.
So those who were on the call, thank you for bringing your shine and your good energy. And so they're like Tiff said, like the Phoenix said, there is still time to register for the class on the 17th or the interest call, excuse me, on the 17th. And here's the thing, it's just information. It's no commitment. You're not signing up for nothing. You don't got to drink nobody's blood. You ain't got to do nothing crazy. We not charging you nothing. Like just come and learn what we're passionate about and how we want to help and empower other women. So please, the 17th, make sure that you're there and tell somebody else. Even if you're like, you know what, this is not the season for me, but I think my good girlfriend, my coworker, the lady who does my hair, the lady who watches my kids, she could really use this in her life. I'll go ahead and invite her. Go ahead and invite her.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. I'm really, really excited about the fact that you and I are going to be working collaboratively together to build out our young women's initiative with the Sparkle Academy coming in 2025. So,
Yeah. Long
so much happening.
overdue. Long overdue, Phoenix. Like this is
Yeah.
it's time. It's time. And just so you know, we have an event coming up in May of 2025. It is the Pressure Weekend in New
Hmm.
York City. We bringing it home to New York. Um, and let's just say there's going to be some special presentations for some people, okay,
Yeah.
who deserve flowers for being here from day one and
Yeah.
serving this community. Yeah, I'm gonna just save it for then. But please make sure that y'all are in the building to witness, okay, this thing that's gonna happen. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, that's it.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be dope. And if y'all have been following us for the past 4.5 years, you know that there isn't anything that we do where it doesn't get the diamond stamp of approval, right? So as we prepare for all of these things, it does require me to occasionally hop onto the social medias and see what the peoples is talking about, see what's happening. And so I had to head straight to the comments. I feel like come over here.
You got him.
Where, where's that? Where's that?
Where's that?
Where the little clip at?
This is what I'm saying. This is what we be needing. Mel. This is why Mel is who Mel is. Cause she be on it. Straight to the comments.
Yeah, so I headed straight to the comments. I was scrolling and I think the story may be a little bit old because I went as I normally do, I went down the rabbit hole like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
There's a family called the Jackson family of Atlanta. Are you familiar with them since you down there? Okay, so anyway, it's a husband and a wife. And I guess they've been using their social media platform for, some years to grow a following. And apparently, mom, they have like 6, 7 children under the age of 6, 7. Like she just stayed pregnant, right?
Mm.
But the reason that this one came across my timeline is because she was divorcing him. And after all of these children, because apparently he was stepping out the marriage and he wasn't living right, right?
But it ain't Rashida. It's not her, even though
No,
they in the same.
it
Okay.
ain't the lady. It not Rashida and Kurt. No, no, Rashida and Kurt. We could spend 2 hours talking about Rashida and Kirk and just dissecting that on a psychological level, but we're not. It, what got my attention was a man who decided to make a reel about it in which he said to women that they should not have any more children than they can care for by themselves. Because if something happens to the husband, they get divorced or whatever it is, oh my goodness, let him. My grandson was calling me. If they get divorced, then she has to care for all of these children on her own. And admittedly in his reel, he says he's not married and we don't have to take his advice. But he said, yeah, he said basically women shouldn't have more kids than they could take care of themselves, regardless of. And so I hopped into the comments thinking that the women were going to be dragging him for filth. Like, excuse me, sir, stay out of grown women business.
Right.
The ladies was in the comments co-signing.
No, they wasn't. No,
Yes,
they
they were.
wasn't.
Yes, they were. Example of a comment. Woman said, facts. I'm a single mom of six, doing this all by myself, and my ex is out there living his best life. Another woman said, I didn't need to hear this from you. My mother told me this when I was growing up. Really? Really, ladies? Y'all letting somebody who admittedly say he not married, he don't have kids, give you advice on what to do with your body. Can y'all please get out of the woman's womb and mind your damn business?
That part. And like, there is so much wrong with that. Like, first of all, that comment is so asinine. Okay. Women do not get married or in relationships with the expectation that I'm going to become a single mother. That is not a status. That is not a goal or a destination that we have in mind. No one wants to do this job. It's the worst. I love my baby, but it is the worst job to take care of an individual, a human being on your own. And like you said, ladies who are co-signing, what kind of bitterness and brokenness are you speaking from? Because that's what it sounds like to me, that you've not only accepted a bad situation that you've been forced into being a single parent, but like that is not an honor. That is not something that's worth rewarding. Like, I hate it. It sucks. So what? And then my last comment to the gentleman who said that, if women are going to, enter relationships and coexist with someone only for the expectation to be shortly or one day, I'm going to be doing this by myself, why then do y'all get on us on social media about the men we choose? Okay, so I need y'all to make it make sense. Where's the balance? Because on one reel or meme, y'all are blaming women for being single mothers because we're not making better choices in the men that we choose. But now you're saying it's something we should already be prepared for, which makes me question, men, are y'all finally starting to accept that y'all got issues? Like, it's,
Yeah, that part.
and I'm done. And I have nothing else to say.
I'm over here laughing because I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I did not put my computer on Do Not Disturb. And my grandson is calling me. Legend is
Oh,
6 years old, right? And he is now into like let me go again. Hold on 1 second, because this is gonna be a funny story.
well, she's letting you know that she can't talk. Drop your comments in the comment on the straight to the comments. Like, how do y'all feel about the things that that man has said, and then the women that were co-signing? But go ahead, Phoenix.
Yes. So just briefly, like Legend is 6 years old. He's learning how to text, right? And so he texts, and I understood the gibberish. He said you, and then he said it says and then ANME. He said you not answering me.
Oh, oh my God, bless his heart.
Oh, that was cute.
You need to answer that pumpkin. Let him know you on the show.
Yeah, I didn't see. He don't know about Wednesday night chat, but yes, we coming into the car. We coming into the comments to see what the people are talking about here. All right, so we're going. So who's this here? We got Tia Berry. You over here looking gorgeous, Queen Pet.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sweets. Thank you, sweets. Mwah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Chantel. Okay, here we go. Wishing Mel safety over
Yeah.
there. Ah, looks like a new name
Definitely.
here. Here come Minister Tanya Owen saying exactly. I'm not sure which thing we've been gibbering and jabbering about, but Mama Owens over here co-signing with us.
I know that's right.
Chantel, marriage is hard in itself, and so is parenthood. When I tell you the two ghettoists, listen, I'm in the Bronx right now. And if y'all from New York City, y'all from the tri-state area, y'all know what they say about the Bronx, right? But even being here in the Bronx, the two most ghetto hoods I have ever lived in is adulthood and parenthood. So
No, true story. True story. Okay. I'm from St. Albans, and that hood was not nearly as hard to navigate as parenthood and adulthood and singlehood as well. Like, I don't like none of them. Like, it's,
listen, listen. Let's compile a list of hoods we don't want to live in anymore. We don't want to live in single parenthood. We
mm-mm.
don't want to live in. I'm not gonna say adulthood because I kind of like adulthood. I just don't like adulthood at night. Some neighborhoods you can go into during the day and they look one way, but then at night they look another. I think
Yeah.
that's adulthood.
Yeah. See, I like adulthood when I have the option to leave, right? Like when I
Right.
can vacation from adulthood. You can't ever leave here. So yeah, I don't,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't love it. But yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Thanks for sharing that with us, Tip. That's super wild.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now we are in part two of Seasons Healing. And I just
Mhm.
want to quickly recap what happened last week. So if you missed us last week, Mel and I, we were discussing Seasons Healing, and we were specifically talking about the seasons of fall and winter and what that looks like in a healing journey, because it's a healing journey. It's not a destination. You do not get to heal. So you stay in a process of continuously healing as we evolve, right? And
Mhm.
so what we were looking at when it came down to the season of fall or autumn, them actually being a time in your journey when you should be looking to release and let go, but also begin forgiveness, right? And so we
Mhm.
started thinking about things that we needed to let go of, things that we shouldn't carry anymore, um, and what that looks like as you
Mhm.
release them, because we have emotional attachments to some of these things that we're healing from because they've been a part of us for so long. Whether that's
Yeah.
a relationship or some trauma from your childhood or whatever it is, it's a core part of you. And so releasing it and letting it go can be something that's very difficult
Yeah.
to do, especially when you feel like this trauma or this thing, this is who I am. Like you have now taken possessive ownership of this thing. And
Right.
without it, it's like, well, who am I? What am I? Right? Again,
Right.
leaving toxic relationships. Like, I don't know myself outside of this relationship. Who am I? What do I like? What do I not like? But that's what you begin to explore when you begin to release. You find out, those
Yeah.
things there. Then we went into the season of winter, which was really about being calm and still and sitting in the moment.
Mhm.
And that moment can be very uncomfortable. When you are healing, one of the most difficult places to be is in the uncomfortableness of what this thing is now that I've let this go, right?
Yep.
You know, and Lord help us when it's a person, they be knocking at the door, they be in the DMs, they be in the text messages, and you like, I'm trying to be still. That's probably
Yeah.
when you go and change their name to like do not disturb or something like that. You
Yeah.
you you
Spam.
you spam likely, right?
Yes. Oh, that's
Like
funny.
6 months ago, he was husband, boo thing, chocolate drop, and now he is spam likely, right? Or she, right? Because
Yeah.
it's the same thing for the fellas, right? But yeah, just being still with that and realizing like you have to cut off yourself and keep certain things out, right? And
Yeah.
then I shared what I had like a whole epiphany in the episode, but I started realizing that in my own healing journey, setting boundaries wasn't as it wasn't as focused on keeping things out, but actually keeping me in, right?
Mm.
Keeping myself from doing the most, from
Wow.
overextending myself, from
Mhm.
allowing, right? So that's what the boundaries are. So that's where we were last week with the season, right?
Mm.
So you want to pop in on anything that I said, something resonate with you, or because I'm ready to get into the next two seasons.
Yeah, no, I tuned into the episode and I was so blessed by the organic and authentic discussion, especially when you had that epiphany. Like I felt that moment because I think some of our growth, the best growth that we experience is when we're in a posture of servanthood and we're trying to pour into others, but really we start to minister to ourselves. Like to me, that's the
Hmm.
most freeing and liberating form of healing because it's not like you're sitting down with intentionality, like, okay, I'm going to have this moment, you know what I'm saying, of revelation for myself. Like you're literally in a position of service and then something hits you and can minister to you. But I felt that thing because I believe that God is calling not just myself, but our collective into a season of stillness and surrender. And
Hmm.
a part of that winter and fall and letting go is also surrendering and being able to submit things to God and leave them there versus focusing on them after we've handed them over. So I have like really nothing to add, just more so to echo what you both have already said. So I thought it was amazing.
Oh,
A really good episode.
thank
Yeah.
you. But
Yeah.
girl, that surrender, who and I'm not sure if it has to do with the Leo energy, the firstborn daughter energy, um, dominant woman. Like I don't know what posture it is, but that letting go and letting God, I'm like, I'm, how are we sitting here trying to negotiate and all right, God, if I give you this, right, are you gonna let me have that? Let me sitting
Girl, listen.
like trying to negotiate with me.
And you know what? You make such a good point. And I was talking to Dre about this today. I said we have such a habit of perfectionism and survival mode, even disrupting our relationship with God because we are so like, I earned this, I got this, I am not letting this go. Even though the one who gave it is asking for it back. We're like, no, you cannot have it. I
Mhm,
have prayed for this. I have positioned myself to receive this. I have been obedient. I'm not letting it go. And it's like, no, but you actually need to let it go because there's greater coming. But if this is in the way, I can't put nothing else in your hand. And I was like, that's that survival mode because we're so afraid to lose something that we don't
mhm,
think we'll get back. We don't think it'll be restored. We don't believe that it's for us to
mhm.
have or to possess. And I know that's my issue. God will be like, okay, give me that. And I'm like, you just gave that to me 9 years ago. I got to let it go. Like, let that thing
It,
go. Mm-mm,
yeah,
I don't want to.
there is, there is. I don't know if it's a meme, and then maybe it's a piece of artwork, it's a drawing, but there is a picture of what I interpret to be God, because it's an adult figure, right? And it's before a child, right? And in one hand is being extended to the child, and then the other hand is behind its back, right? And then the child is clutching like this ratted teddy bear, and
Mm-hmm.
underneath it says, "But I love it," right? And then when you look at the next screen, you can see that behind God or the adult that's in the picture is this bigger, fluffier, more giant teddy bear, right? I
Yeah.
have to find this thing because I actually need it turned into a screen print or something for it to be in my office space or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I have to remind myself that all the things that I have asked and prayed for, that I have been given, that I hold on to so dearly, that when they're being taken from me, it's to be able to make room for bigger, better, and greater.
Yeah.
But I'm
Mhm.
so afraid, and this is the epiphany happening again in life. I'm afraid of that moment of release before receive, because
Mm.
as somebody who ran track, it is that 1 point millimeter second as the baton gets handed and what happens in that moment, that's when it can fall. That's
Yeah.
when it can and throw you up. And it is that moment of the exchange that I'm afraid of. And I think that's what winter is, right? Winter
Whew.
is that moment of like, I've got to let this go before the next thing comes in. And I just have to be okay in the stillness of the moment of not having either thing in my possession for whatever the time period is.
That is a whole word. That is an entire that'll preach because though girl, I had to adjust my seat to keep from getting up and running through this room. That is so because it's true. It's true. It's in the unknown that scares us the most. It's what could happen. And it's all of these scenarios that we tell ourselves that could happen. And one of the things that I had to do to supplement that fear is track record review. I had to go back and say, okay, the last time I felt like this, what did God do here? The last
Hmm.
time I was afraid like this, how did God show up? The last time I was asked to release something and give up something and let something go, what did God then replenish or give back or give new? It's like it's that unknown of what is God going to do, but that's just who we are as human beings. We got to know everything. And to me, that's where faith has to kick in because faith is saying, even when I don't know, I'm still going to trust. I don't because if you
Right.
have to know it all, then do you really have faith? Because you already know what's going to happen. So there's
Hmm.
nothing to lean on except your own understanding, which we are warned in scripture not to do. So anyway, because girl, you got go and talk to the people about this. Go and talk to the people.
I told you I was ready for this. So then that's going to take us, that handoff is going to take us into the spring and the new beginnings and
Mhm.
being able to enjoy the fruits that come, the flowers that come in the spring from
Yeah,
that time of stillness, of release, right?
yeah,
So in the springtime, this is when all of the new feelings come through. We feel a little bit more empowered, enlightened.
hmm,
We're re-energized and all of those things there. But
yeah.
if you ever experienced the spring in the Northeast, it could be 70 degrees and then snow 2 days later. So you gotta be prepared for that.
True story. Oh my gosh. Oh my
It
God.
will be 70 degrees on Sunday and Thursday it'll be a blizzard. Like
Yeah,
that is literally what happens in a healing journey. And
yeah.
I find myself, and this is where my spring shows up, right? When I get triggered. When
Mm,
I get triggered in my spring,
mhm.
all of those old things come back. It's very easy for me to revert back to those old comfortable ways of doing
Mhm.
things instead of trusting or moving forward and being in that enlightenment.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you will hear someone say, how do church people say? I was joking with you one time about it, be like, I'm saved, not delivered, or or
No, you said I'm in the cart. I'm in God's Amazon cart.
I'm in God's Amazon cart, like I'm in the save for later. Like all of these things here, I joke about it, but that is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
being just right there, and then something uncomfortable happens. And
Yeah.
that's where you really test your strength and your position
Mhm.
within this newness, right?
Yeah.
So do you have an example? And it could be something old or something new, something borrowed,
Mhm.
something blue, whatever it is, right? Where you were in your season of spring and
Mhm.
you were in that soft life. You were in that moment of enjoying this freshness, and
Mhm.
something came and it took you right out of that and put you right back in winter or something like that. And then what did you
Yeah.
learn from it?
Yeah. So, okay. All right. I'm gonna try to like abbreviate what I want to say because that's such a loaded question. It's so good. But I cannot think of one instance that I've had that, because I've had many like that where I think that I'm progressing into a new season, I'm progressing into a spring, into a bloom of something in my life. And then I get snatched back into that cold, dark, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
bleak season. And I'm like, am I not completely out? Or has spring not completely sprung? Like, what is going on? And I remember the last time that happened was actually not that long ago, just a few months ago. Because one thing I do want to say, emotional seasons are not the same as our actual seasons. Like, they don't happen in alignment or at the exact same time. And so a
Mm-hmm.
few months ago, I was in that transition from winter to spring. And I thought I was ready to step into it, and I thought it was going to happen. And then I got snatched back. And so I remember praying, and I was like, God, why can I not completely enter into spring? And God was like, you didn't have enough seed. There's nothing to bloom there if you haven't planted here. And I think that's the part that we always skip because we don't like doing the work. We love talking about the harvest in spring. We love talking about what blooms in spring, but have you considered the seeds that you have to sow to have a harvest in spring or to have a bloom in spring? And so that's also where that alignment of lightness and dark can keep happening, because you haven't sown enough in one area to
Mm-hmm.
see it fully, you know what I'm saying, to see it fully bloom in that spring season. And so you're not going to move forward if it's like, if you don't put gas in the car, it's literally not going to move. Like,
Yep.
even if that's what it's created to do, we know a car is created to drive, but there are elements that are essential to make that thing function the way it's supposed to. Our journey, our healing journey into spring is no different. You have to do the work in the winter and in the fall, which is
Mm-hmm.
that time to plant the seed. And so that was such an awakening for me, like, oh, I didn't do a lot of that work. But I
Right.
walked in with this expectation that, yes, my spring about to be lit and God about to do a thing. And God's like, where's your seed though? Like, where's your seed? There's no
Mm-hmm.
seed here. I have nothing to increase. I have nothing to grow for you because there's nothing here. And so anyway, that has been my experience, being kind of pulled back to say there's a little bit more work that has to happen here before you can go start to pluck harvest there. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. And just let's make it even more simpler for the people out there, right? Because numbers is numbers, right? Zero is zero, right? Times zero. So if there are zero seeds there, there's nothing to multiply. You can
nothing to multiply.
it's nothing to multiply. And it
Right.
makes me think of, for me, where I feel in my healing journey, the lesson is still the same. Like, change the
Mhm.
characters, change the scenario, but the lesson is still the same. And I'm
Mhm.
like, why am I going through this again? Because you didn't learn the lesson. You got left back. You had to repeat the grade. You got
Yeah.
to go to tutoring, right? There are just certain things where I am learning my lessons the hardest way ever. And
Yeah.
so God tried to teach me this way. She didn't get it that way. Okay, so we got to turn it this way. No, they didn't do that. Like, okay, we got to. So sometimes I feel like, have you ever been the type of parent to do homework with your child and you're like, Johnny had 5 apples. He gave Susie 2. How many apples do you have? And the kid is like, 7. And you're like, no, Johnny had 5 apples. He gave Susie 2. How many apples does he have? And the kid is like, why do they have to have apples? Why does I like bananas?
Right.
And then you're
Yes.
like, what? Where you keep asking the question over and over again, but you keep getting more elevated and more excited. And I swear to God, this is why my children do not ask me for help when it comes to homework. Because I was the parent who I just kept thinking if I raised my voice, it
Mm.
would eventually click in their head.
Mhm.
See, God knows different. God knows He can't raise His voice at me and then it's gonna click in my head. He has to keep changing up the scenario. So
Yeah.
yeah, He keeps giving me the same lesson in
Mhm.
different versions, hoping
Mhm.
that one of these is gonna stick like glue, and then I'm gonna have the aha epiphany moments that I've been having
Yes.
the past couple of weeks in on the show, So that's what I got.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah, but that's a whole word. That is an entire word. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now, so we got some more comments coming in. The comments are popping tonight. Let's see, we got over here. We got Chantel over here again. I think that was the last one. Marriage is hard itself, and so is parenthood. Then she followed it up with, "Can I get the job specifications and descriptions for both of these hoods?" Like, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you apply for a job, you read that JD real well, right?
Plenty of
Not
vacancy. Exactly. Yeah.
His sweet tears said, "Yes, Tiffany, the uncomfortable is so uncomfortable. I swear,
Facts.
I be tired sometimes. I put my shoe on the wrong foot, immediately start like, that don't feel good. Switch it up. Nope. I can know to take my foot out of the shoe immediately to put it on, like, this is the wrong shoe. Let that be a lesson I need to learn in life. I'd be like, no, let me try and do it this way. No, girl, it's so
I'm gonna make it work like this, right?
Oh, so yeah, thank you. Oh, I see my mommy is watching tonight. Hey, mommy. She didn't leave a comment, but it does say that Crystal Wilson's in his house. I'm looking forward to seeing her in a couple of weeks for my cousin's wedding.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that there. So
Auntie
yeah,
Krista. That's
all
dope.
right. So now that we done talked about the winter, we done talked about the fall, we done talked about the spring. Here come the summer and the blooming. Ooh, summer blooming. Isn't summer beautiful? It's so
It is.
colorful. It's so bright and pretty. And it just kind of sings when you do it.
Yeah.
My heart feels the same way when I've reached like something that I feel that I've healed from, a certain situation that I have worked my
Mhm.
way through. And
Mhm.
so I'm sitting there and I see myself just like frolicking in fields of flowers and everything is great and it smells like coconut and suntan oil. Like this is what summer is to me. Like I think of all of the senses that get so much merriment in the
Right.
summertime, right? You can feel
Right.
the warmth from the sun. You can see the vibrancy. You can smell it in the air. Because I don't know about anybody else, but can you smell the seasons? I can smell the
I can.
seasons.
Yes, I definitely can.
Like I
Absolutely.
and I don't really have allergies, but that spring pollen be killing people. And then the
Especially
air
out
in
here.
the air in the wintertime is just like so sharp and crisp and it could hurt a little to inhale. Like I can smell the season. So
Yeah.
yeah, when we are blooming and we're in our growth,
Hmm.
I think for me, I'm gonna speak in the first person, I
Hmm.
can get tricked into thinking everything is okay.
Mm.
I could get tricked into thinking that everything is okay. And as I'm frolicking through this field, not realize that there's a cliff at the end that I didn't prepare for, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So I want
Hmm.
to discuss being able to live in the bloom and growth of summer, but still staying prepared, not getting prepared, but staying
Okay.
prepared for the fact that this is a cycle.
Hmm.
You're gonna start all over again. Fall is just around the bend, and everything like that.
Yeah.
What is what do you think are some tools that people could put into their toolbox to prepare to in order to stay prepared for the fact that healing is always a cycle. You're always going to come back around to go back around again. And
Yeah.
again, as you said, not necessarily even in the same order. Because in a
Right.
healing journey, you literally can go from summer to winter, just like
Yes.
that.
Exactly. No, that's so good. Like, so when you introduced this topic to Mel and I, the first thing I did, I had to read, I had to get articles, I had to pull together an understanding because I don't like to discuss anything that I haven't studied to show myself approved. And this
Hmm.
one article that I came across, it was talking about the healing seasons in terms of how it shows up in our lives. And it was saying that there's actually two summers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the peak of energy, which is summer, and then there's late summer, which is like an elemental summer that represents balance and stability. And I was like, well, what does that mean exactly? And so, like, the more I read and the more like I discovered, it kind of walks you through what you normally would have already done, so that the time you get to summer. So let me just share this. So it's talking about when you're in your winter, you're assessing the damage and what you've lost or what you've had to let go, right? When you get
Mm-hmm.
to spring, you're making the decisions about how to move forward. But when you get to summer, it's actually taking the steps on the new path. And so that really like stuck with me, because it's like preparing the steps is the spring, but taking the steps is the summer. What does that look like? That looks like execution, because some of us
Mm-hmm.
will stay still so long, like, oh, I'm going to do this in terms of the healing work, or I'm going to change these habits, or I'm going to show up differently in these areas. Summer calls for you to actually do it. Summer calls for you to actually execute. That is the time. That's where your energy is at peak. So that's the only time in that healing season that you're going to have enough strength and enough energy to actually show up and execute. So, in terms of answering your question, what are some tools? It's definitely having a consistent prayer life. This is just me. You may not believe prayer is effective, but for me, one of my greatest tools is prayer, because one, when you pray to not just be heard, but to listen, you are going to be equipped with wisdom. You're going to be equipped with direction and directives from the Holy Spirit that'll say, oh, move in this direction, move in that direction. And so that's a big tool for me. The other one is, y'all know I'm going to go there, journaling. Journaling is another huge, huge tool. Hold on, let me fix my screen, y'all. My bad. Tiff must have lost her internet connection. But I was talking about prayer, journaling. That's another really big tool for me in every season, not just summer. Um, Another tool I would have to say is like doing some inward reflection over the last two seasons. Like, what happened in the winter? What happened in the spring that has prepared you to now be able to take those steps in summer? Like, all of those things play such a huge part in how you're going to navigate your summer season of healing. So those are just some things. Hopefully I answered her question. She's not here to confirm. So I'm just going to share some other things that I pulled from these articles while we wait for her to come back. Um, but the article was also talking about, why the seasons of healing are so necessary for us, and why it's important that we're surrendered to the process of healing versus trying to rush through one season or another. No one likes the season of winter. I know I physically don't like winter, so I'm pretty sure I don't like winter from a healing or spiritual or emotional or mental standpoint, because I don't even like it in real life. Like, it sucks. Um, but they're all necessary. There's no way you can get to your summer season of healing if you have not experienced those that come before it or come after it. And like Tiff said, sometimes they jump around. Sometimes you may be in winter and go directly into summer. You don't have to go through the blooming of spring. Or sometimes you're in spring and you have to go back to winter because there's just some things you haven't learned or haven't done, or the work hasn't been complete in that season. And so you do have to move around. Um, there was one other point that the article said that I wanted to share, and then hopefully Tiff will come back, because this is definitely her show, y'all. I'm a guest on her episode today. Um, but anyway, it was talking about summer, since that's the one we're talking about. It mentioned that summer represents passion, growth, and adulthood. And what it means by adulthood, it means like stages of maturation. Oops, sorry, Tiff. And so anyway, those are all the things that I learned reading that article. I was just sharing more points from my article since you were gone. But welcome
Okay.
back.
No, thank you. Listen, I was sitting here, I was like, I know my little Wi-Fi booster didn't feel me. No, it was my whole router, like, was like, we go to sleep now.
But yeah, so I believe I answered your question. You'll have to catch the replay and listen to see if I did, but I think I did. think I do.
Yeah, I believe you. I trust you. I trust you in that. Um, we're gonna go back into the comments again because I did see those coming through. Here we go. Going back to Tia, she says, "OMG, Amy and I were working with numbers, and he kept saying carrot." Yeah, like
Mm,
them kids, man, them kids.
that's a Maya all day.
Taisha said, when we talking about the smell of summer, it smells like suntan lotion and coconuts. Yes,
No
it does.
lie. And charcoal. Like, I don't know why, but it does.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine. Don't get me to singing, blowing
Right.
jasmine through my mind.
Come on with the jams. Summer breeze
Uh,
makes me
Winter
feel.
is my least favorite too of all of for all of those reasons. See now the reasons that you done dropped that I guess that's what I gotta go back and watch and see. We gotta
Yeah,
talk about those reasons for the season.
yeah.
But yeah, I I find myself continuously saying that if you hear me speaking on a topic, it's not just because it was put upon my heart that somebody needs to hear it. A lot of
Mhm,
times that somebody who needs to hear it is me, right?
mhm, mhm,
So if I need to hear the message, then I'm sure there's somebody else that needs to hear it. So that's
mhm.
where these all of these topics and ideas have been coming from, is that
Yeah,
I'm in my own personal journey of healing and removing things.
yeah,
I've got to do the research. I've got to do the work.
yeah.
And sometimes in order to find the answer for someone else, I find the answer for myself.
Facts.
No,
Yes, facts.
I'm missing Mel today. I feel like she would have definitely put some spins on those the way that only Mel could and everything like that. But again, wishing
Absolutely.
wishing her and everyone down in
That they're
the
safe.
Florida region that they are safe because that
Yeah.
is the main priority first and foremost always.
hmm Absolutely. And if I can share, like, I want to offer just one more thing to our gems and
Mhm.
gents who are listening and those who will catch the replay. Um, in my time of study, I was looking for how, how the spiritual seasons align with that of the healing seasons. And so I came up with, well, I didn't come up with, but I found these things. And it talks about the winter is the dry season and it's the waiting season. Like those
Mhm.
two align with winter. And then with fall is the grinding season. And many of
Mhm.
us believe that fall is the chill season, but it's actually the grinding season. Now, here was the interesting thing to learn. I was expecting them to say, you know, winter was like the hard season or the tough season, but they actually say summer is the test and trial season and the spiritual warfare season. And the reason is because that is the season we have the highest energy. That is the season that we are usually feeling renewed, having come out of spring. And then they
Mhm.
refer to spring as the happy season. And so when I read through that, how that aligns with, winter, summer, spring, and fall, I was like, wow, that's really interesting that the test and trial season and the spiritual warfare season is summer. And we look at summer as like leisure and time to kick back and release and have fun. But for that reason, it's why we get tested, because we've let our guard down, because we're more relaxed, because we're more trusting. So, anyway, I just thought that was super dope. Happy to share these articles on our website if you are all interested in reading them. I had about 9 that I referred to in my notes for this, but I just thought that was really, really interesting. That was kind of like a moment for me. So, yeah.
Nah, that completely makes sense for me because like I said, we're out there, we're frolicking through the fields with the flowers and all this other stuff, and you can't see the dips and clips and all that other stuff that's happening because it's covered. But again, this is when the work should be done, you
Yeah.
know. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So that
Girl, I tell you, in such we approach these topics in such different ways. You take a very studious um a way of handling them. It's like I see you like with your hair in a top knot bun and you're at the computer like burning the midnight oil like you was in college and you was getting ready to prepare your dissertation each and every time we prepare for one of these topics. And me, I just sit here and it comes to me and it's on my heart and I just start writing and then I go and look up a couple of things and then this, that, next to another. I don't know how Mel prepares, she'll have to share that on her own, but we still come together and we have these amazing conversations each and every time. I know the gems and the gents that are in the space absolutely love them. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I enjoy having these conversations with you.
Me too. I do too. I think the because we all prepare differently, because we all pull from our strengths, because research and investigation is a strength of mine. It's easy. It's like this insatiable, like I gotta collect as much as I can. And then, like you said, you're gonna feel your way through it and then pick up the information that
Mhm.
validates what you felt about the topic. And then, like you said, I'm not really sure where Mel falls, but I'm pretty sure she's somewhere in between where she's both, what I'm saying, like pulling and feeling, where I'm more of the let's pull. But I'm really grateful for it because I think our audience is just as diverse as our panel of hosts, and I
Yeah.
want to be able to speak to people who are hungry for more and who want to learn and have more information, because there's so much information out here. There's so many opinions. Wikipedia is the place of opinions, right? And Reddit and all these other platforms. And so sometimes you're unsure of what you can trust and what's been validated. But I always tell people, if it doesn't contradict the word of God, you can probably trust it. That's my
Hmm.
foolproof way of understanding. It's like, yeah, if it contradicts God's word in any way, yeah, I'm probably not going to believe anything in that
Hmm.
article or nothing that person is saying. But if it aligns with kingdom principles, then I'm usually like, yeah, okay, I can live with that. I can get that. I can line up with that. But anything else, I'm like, side eye her. I don't trust none of that. So yeah.
Hitting with the boombastic. Oh, okay.
But that's just me. Yeah, that's just me.
Well, we are approaching the end of the episode. Normally we go on and on and on and on, but again, we're getting we're getting better at sticking to keeping our word on what it is that we want to do. So it's actually time for us to drop our gem. Here we go. See, this is where Mel B needs to come in handy. Here we go.
Right. She be on it.
She definitely does. She
She really
definitely
do.
does.
Yeah.
So it's time for us to move into our final gem thought of the evening. Do you want to go first, or would you like me to? Because I actually
Yeah.
have one prepared for today.
Look at you. Okay. So no, you can go first. I'm dying to hear it.
Okay. So again, how is that? Came across this, and it says there's a Japanese legend that says if you feel like you're losing everything, remember trees lose their leaves every year, yet they stay still and stand tall and wait for better days to come.
Mm.
That one's got to go on my wall too because reminding myself that I am the tree that I'm called to be, deeply rooted, strong, and free, is
Mhm.
something that has gotten me through many of my darkest days. Like I can get through this. I can get through this. These the biggest. Do you know how much a tree has to endure in order to fall in a storm?
Mm.
There are so many factors that are in play, but
Yeah.
those roots, they dig down deep, they bust up sidewalks. The tree, it grow, like I have seen trees grow and they start growing like stair steps as they keep growing towards the sun and where the nourishment and the nutrients are. And it's like, you know what, even through all of that, they still lose their leaves and have
Hmm.
to bloom again.
Yeah. Wow,
And
that's good.
Yeah. So I am willing to, in this season of my healing, essentially stand naked as a tree and allow my roots to dig deeper and wait for
Wow.
the better days to come.
Wow. I love that. Okay. Ugh, all right. Sorry. I had a moment. But no, I love that. I absolutely do.
And
Um,
onions.
yeah, no, I love that. I was reading an article a couple of months ago and it was talking about how a tree takes 5 years before it shows signs of fruit, even though it's been growing the fruit the whole time. But we don't see it until almost 5 years later. So, okay. So I prepared my gym tonight too, and it was based on a Bible study that I was having with my chocolate drop. We were having a Bible study in Genesis. We were reading Genesis, and Genesis 1. I started at the beginning, and God was pretty much, the Creator was creating, right? He was doing all of these things, and so I paused, and we were talking about how multitasking and being busy is really not of God. And I started to like really unpack that and really like pursue more understanding on that. And I was like, this is exactly why we have to abandon perfectionism and grind culture. And so the first thing I want to address with the time I have left is perfectionism. The reason why it is not of God, because scripture says that God created the heaven and the earth and, all these different things he created, right, on all these days. And when he responded to what he had created, when he had seen what he created, he said, and it is good, not perfect, not excellent, not always all that. He said it was good. And so sometimes we'll reach pinnacles and achieve things that are good, but because of the culture we live in, it tells us that it's not good enough. And so we're pursuing perfect and we're pursuing excellent and we're pursuing better. And then we're burning out. We don't have the grace for more. We don't have the talent for more. And then we get frustrated with God when really all you had to create was good and what you created was probably good. And so I was reading further because God is just dope like this. So I kept reading in that same chapter. Um, we witnessed God creating something and then taking a break after. He did not create man, animals, plants, all of that in one day. He did it over 6 days. And so again, grind culture is not of God. If the creator of all things can create something and then break, after saying it's good, he takes a break until the following day to create. And again, maybe it didn't exactly happen in days because some of y'all are super deep and philosophical. But my point is, you don't have to do it all in one day. You do not have to get it all done in a month, in a year. You can take your time and it will still be excellent. It will still be great. It'll still be good. And so that's what I just wanted to share because that really blessed me. Like, really paying attention. Like, God is so dope. Like, he created the plants and you know what I'm saying, the grass on one day and then moved on to the next thing. He didn't even
Hmm.
create man and woman in the same day. Like, you get, so anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Abandon perfectionism, abandon grind culture because it is not of God. And that is just my honest opinion. I don't care what pastors might disagree and say, no, you got to go after what you want, got to pursue the harvest. No, that's not scriptural. So that's my gym for the night. I hope that helps everybody.
It sure does. It even makes me think of two things. So the first one with the abandoning perfectionism, right? There are these food subscription boxes where you can get the ugly food because it's not as pretty. It's a little misshapen. It's a little, it's got some deformities in it,
Hmm.
but meaning that it wouldn't pass the seal of approval to sit in a produce market or in a supermarket or something like that because it's not pretty. It would get passed over. But that doesn't mean it's not good fruit just because it's not pretty.
Because the contents are still, Tiffany, don't stop preaching
Girl,
at
I
9 o'clock.
like that. Just because it's not
No,
pretty doesn't mean it's not good fruit.
because the contents are the same as the cans and the packaging that doesn't have the imperfections. The content is this, girl. I'm not doing this with you. Y'all know I got to get off
You
the
know
phone.
what I mean?
Doing this. Go ahead. The other point you said you had to.
The other one was as part of my work. in the nonprofit that I work in, we are very focused on rest being a form of resistance in the release of grind culture and you know, European hierarchy and those things there. And we had an exercise today where we spoke on what we were taught about rest. And so many of us were like, we weren't taught about rest. There was no such thing as rest growing up. As we are now in this hood that we're talking about that we don't like, adulthood, I
Yeah.
implore and encourage you to take your naps, to take your rest breaks, because you are a whole adult and you can because you said so.
Period. Period. No, in real life. Come on with the confirmation, cuzzo. Because again, we were talking about that today as well. Like how rest is essential. Rest is imperative. It is literally how we regenerate. It is how we regulate our hearts. It's how we regulate our emotions. It's that resting period. And rest doesn't always mean sleep. It means just not focusing on something, not doing. We feel like we always have to be doing and creating and, you know what I'm saying, managing. Like, just take your hands off some stuff and rest. Get you
Exactly.
some rest. Some of y'all don't need a man, you need rest. You don't need more money. You need rest. Like, okay, I'm sorry. Because no. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Well, we in here preaching tonight, but it is now time to let the people know that we are out for the evening, right? Oh, we got some dope stuff coming up later on in the month. We have a diamond heist coming up. We got a special guest coming up. There's more to come. And you know where to find us each and every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram Live. It's the Hustle and Shine podcast. I'm Tiffany Mathias, the one true Phoenix.
I'm Natima Sheree, Queen Pen.
And remember to continue to hustle and shine.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
You taking us out?